Happy Wisdom Wednesday, everyone. So, book of the week this week, Bad Science by Ben Goldacre, subtitle, Quacks, Hacks, and Big Pharma Flax, which is why today we're going to talk about real science versus BS. And no, the BS does not stand for bad science, but let's just say that's the case for now. So, why did I pick this to be the book of the week? Well, the reason why is that I have a lot of followers and a lot of viewers who are in the medical world, whether it's on the industry side or on the professional side as physicians and nurses. And no matter where you look, whether it's on TV, on social media, in magazines, newspapers, there is full of a lot of bad science, a lot of misleading things, manipulation, things like bogus nutritionists or health experts, right, trying to peddle their new supplements that they probably got from Alibaba or God knows who, where else, or some pharma company that comes out with a new wonder drug that is being promised to do X, Y, and Z, but then it gets pulled off the market because it's actually killing people, right? Or even something as simple as a physician who's discovered a new technique, right? And they have some studies or case studies that they've done to prove this technique out, when in reality, that's not exactly the case, right? So how do we get past that? Well, Ben Goldacre, who is a doctor and a science writer and an epidemiologist, put this book together and really drops the hammer on a variety of industries that have peddled bad science, right? Anywhere from, really bad campaigns on vitamins that were used to combat HIV in Africa, to health experts in the UK who are making these wild and incredibly stupid claims. But the point of the matter is people like you and I and everybody else fall under these sort of tricks and points of manipulation. Now, one chapter I really enjoyed in this book is called Why Clever People Believe Stupid Things, right? And one of the main reasons why is one of my favorite topics, cognitive biases. You see, that brain that you and I both have is thousands of years old, right? And the tools and shortcuts we use in this brain to survive, not very helpful in today's world full of data and information, etc., right? So let me take you through a few of these biases that makes you fall victim to bad science. So number one, confirmation bias. Confirmation bias means that you're trying to confirm a belief you already have based on old data. For example, let's say that you have a company that you like to buy products from, and this company makes medical devices, and every medical device they come up with is always well researched, goes to the FDA, all these things, right? And so when they come up with a new product, you confirm the bias that, oh yeah, it's going to be a fantastic product, great, great studies will be behind it, and it'll be efficacious, and it'll do what it says, right? That's not always the case. So we always try to confirm our biases based on previous data, right? Sometimes there's somebody that you really like a lot, who's done a great job for you, who's done X, Y, and Z, but when they do something that is incongruent or goes against what you already have in your head, the bias you already have, you'll glance that over. That's how a lot of people, they fall victim to getting taken advantage of, right? It's like, oh, John always did the right thing. He always told me the truth, except for the last year that you knew him, because everything he told you was a lie. But because you're confirming a bias from previously, you didn't see that, right? We do this in the medical world all the time. We have to be careful about it. Availability bias, right? This means it's a bias based on the information that's readily available to you, right? Physicians hate anti-vaxxers, right? People who are anti-vaccine, right? The reason why, even though there's mounds and mounds of data, research, stories, etc., about why vaccines are good for you, what's readily available, especially on the internet, are a lot of anti-vaccination stories, like really upset parents and supposed health professionals who are, again, confirming that bias, right? That's the availability bias. And the last one I'm going to tell you about is a social proof bias, right? Very powerful bias. Social proof means that you do and believe what everybody else is doing. So back when we were cavemen and cavewomen, social proof was great because whatever the tribe was doing is going to be safe and healthy and, help you survive. But today, that's not the case. So a lot of times, and he points it out in this book, things that show that a lot of people are doing it. For example, a new fad diet where it's like X amount of people have, had olive oil. Let's say thousands of rich people, wealthy people, they live longer and they have great skin because they have olive oil. Well, that's a social proof bias because it's like, oh, there's thousands of people doing this, it must be good. But that doesn't mean it's actually true, right? There's a lot of different variables that come into play. And the biggest thing that he talks about in this book is the effect of the placebo and how absolutely powerful it is, right? And things that are really placebo effects end up getting the credit taken away from them and being said that, oh, it's because of this pill. One thing that they did was this hoax that fish oil makes kids smarter. So what they did in this study is that they took these fish oils, they gave them to these kids and said, oh, we're doing a study to show how fish oil makes you smarter, right? And they waited a year, and of course a year later, all these kids got better scores on their exam. Here's the problem. What's the placebo effect of me giving you something and saying this is going to make you smarter, right? That by itself is a huge bias, right? But of course, from then on out, a lot of people still today believe that if you give fish oil to your kids, it's going to make them smarter. So it's a great book. I recommend it, especially for my peers, not only in the medical and healthcare profession, but those of you here in Silicon Valley who are in the tech world trying to get into healthcare. We welcome you. We're excited for you to be here, but we want real science, not BS. So that's the book of the week. Go out and get it. I hope you'll enjoy it. And as always, happy Wisdom Wednesday, and I'll see you next week.